Hi, welcome back. Okay, so today we're going to do a lot of practicing with solving equations or finding the solution to equations by substituting a value in for the variable. And a lot of the problems that you'll be working on will give you a short list of possible values for that variable. You're going to substitute those in and figure out which one is right. So we are going to start on page 181. So open your journal to page 181 and cameraman, come on around. So on numbers 13 through 16, it says tell which given value, if any, is a solution of the equation. So for number 13, the equation is t minus 2.1 equals 0. Now your choices are 2.1, 2.4, 2.6, or 2.8. You're going to substitute those values in until you figure out which one is correct. Number 14, same kind of thing. You've got your equation, and then you've got your 4 possible values for r. Substitute those in and see which one is correct. And then 15 and 16, same thing. You've got an equation with a variable. You've got some possible values for that variable. You're going to substitute those values in and see which one makes the equation true. 16, same thing. Okay? Why don't you pause the video here, do those 4 problems, and then come back and check your answers. Okay, so for number 13, the answer is 2.1. For number 14, it's 7. For number 15, y equals $2.15. And for number 16, none of those work. So none of those are solutions to that equation. Okay, now let's take a look at the next few problems. And number 17 is a word problem. Marcy's father rode his bike 108 miles in 7.5 hours. I'm just going to underline that. Her mother rode the same distance in 8 hours. So also 108 miles, only it took her 8 hours. Now Marcy plans to ride her bike 108 miles at a steady rate of 18 miles for we don't know how many hours. Okay? And the question is, will she match her father's or her mother's time? Use the equation 108 divided by y equals 18 to justify your answer. So again, the question is, will she match their pace? Or will she what does it say? Yeah, will she match her father or mother's pace? Okay. The next one, write if b equals 6 is a solution or it is not a solution of each equation. So you've got 4 equations here, and they all have b as the variable or the unknown value. And it's saying if it's 6, if b equals 6 in all of these equations, which one of these equations would be true and which ones wouldn't? Okay? For example, 8b. Well, if b equals 6, then 8b equals 48 because 8 times 6 is 48. So 48 equals 48? Yep, that is a solution. b can equal 6. Then do the same thing, substituting 6 in wherever there's a b and see if those work out. Okay, now, number 19, you've got a group of 4 friends. They're planning a fun day trip. The equations in the table represent the number of people, n, who can participate in each activity for $29. Okay. Which activity should the friends choose if they want to spend exactly $29? There's a raft trip, which is 6n plus 5 equals 29. Remember, there are 4 friends. There's the amusement park, which is 14n equals 29. And the balloon ride, which is 30n minus 40 equals 29. You've got 4 friends, so which one of those activities would work for them? Okay. So do those problems, pause the video, and then come back and see how you did. All right, let's take a look. So with this problem, 108 miles in 7.5 hours, 108 miles in 8 hours, and then what Marcy did. So her dad was going 14.4 miles per hour because you divide the distance by the amount of time he traveled, and that's 14.4 hours. 108 divided by 8 would be the distance divided by how many hours her mom biked, and that's 13.5. So remember that she's going to go 18 miles per hour. So will she ever match their speed? No, because hers is 18 miles per hour. Theirs are 14.4 and 13.5. Okay, now let's look at 18. A, that's a solution. B, not a solution, because if B is 6, then it would be saying 11 minus 6 equals 6, which is not true. C is a solution because 6 plus 3 equals 9. And D is also a solution because 54 divided by B equals 9. So those are a solution too. Okay, now finally, this group of 4 friends, which trip would work for them? For 4 friends spending $29? The raft trip. If you substitute 4 in for those n's, you'll see that that's the one that works. Okay, let's take a look at the next page. Okay, a lot of word problems here. It's good to get really good at these things. So let's take a look at number 20. There are 27 pennies on one pan of a pan balance and 18 pennies on the other. To make the pans balance, Hillary thinks 5 pennies should be added to the higher pan. The higher pan is going to be the lighter one, which is 18. Sean thinks 8 pennies should be added, and Rachel thinks 9 pennies should be added. Use the equation 27 equals 18 plus P to determine who is correct. So remember, one side is 27, the other is 18, and the question really is, how many pennies do you need to add to make this equal? Okay, 21, Gerard spent $5.12 for a drink and a sandwich. His drink cost $1.30. Did he have a ham sandwich for $3.54, a tuna sandwich for $3.82, or a turkey sandwich for $3.92? Use the equation S. What does that stand for? S stands for the cost of the sandwich, plus $1.30 because that's how much the drink cost, equals $5.12 because that's how much he spent altogether. Okay, number 22, write an equation that has a solution of 12. Show how you know that 12 is the solution. So this is really open-ended. Any equation that has 12 as the answer will work. Gina's family is driving 255 miles to visit Sacramento. After driving for a while, they pass a sign that reads Sacramento, 124 miles. Substitute the values m equals 111, 121, and 131, and 141 in the equation 255 minus m equals 124 to find the number of miles the family has already driven. So this is really another one of those problems where they ask you to substitute values in and find out which one, if any, are true. So the equation is 255 minus m, that's the miles they have left, or they've already traveled, and the miles they have left is 124. 255 total miles. M is some distance we don't know, and 124 is what they've got left. So then figure out which one, if any of these four, is the correct one. Number 24, Lisa is making a quilt that uses a pattern of triangles like the one shown. Write an equation that represents the missing side length. Here's the missing side length here. If the perimeter is 19 centimeters. Remember, perimeter is the distance around a shape. And there's only one side here that doesn't have a measurement. At m is the variable that's standing in for that missing measurement. So how can you figure out what that is? If you know the perimeter is the distance around, so the length of all the sides, and the total is 19 centimeters, what should you do to solve that? In number 25, Elisa's family planted 7 trees in their yard. The park down the street has 147 trees. Elisa guessed that the park has either 11 or 31 times as many trees as her yard has. That's really, really random, Elisa. But anyway, is either of Elisa's guesses correct? And it gives you the equation. Use the equation 7n equals 147 to justify your answer. Where did that 7n come from? Well, Elisa's got those 7 trees. The n is the amount times that 7 that would equal 147, which is the number of trees in the park. So try out those values for n. 7 times 11 or 7 times 31. See if either of those are right. Okay, here's just some practice problems. 26. Trish has $26 to spend at a craft store. She buys fabric that costs $18.62. She also wants to buy knitting needles for $7.32, silk flowers for $7.38, or oil paints for $8.48. So the question is, which of those things can she afford? Use the equation. It gives you the equation. $18.62 plus C, that's the unknown amount, equals $26. $26 is how much money she has. Okay? So substitute, again, those possible values. She'd spent the $18.62, $7.32, $7.38, or $8.48 to equal 26. Okay? Work on those problems, pause the video, and resume it when you're ready to go over the answers. All right, let's take a look. So, Rachel was correct. 27 equals 18 plus 9. All right, and the tuna sandwich for $5.12. Substitute the price of each sandwich in for S. So the tuna sandwich was the one that he could afford, or that he bought. Now, with this one, I just used this one. This is, of course, not the only equation that would work, but let me show you why it does work. N plus 10 equals 22. Remember, we wanted our variable to equal 12. So let's say it's 12 and see if it's true. 12 plus 10 equals 22. So it works. So any equation like this where that n would equal 12 would be a correct answer. All right, Gina's family. They have traveled 131 miles. Their total is 255, and they've got 124 miles left. They've already traveled 131 miles. Now, here is that quilt. This missing side is 5 centimeters. M equals 5. And see what I did here? I added all the sides together. 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus M, that's the missing side, because that's part of the perimeter. And then I simplified and said 14, because that all adds up to 14, plus M equals 19. So then M must equal 5. All right. Lisa and her bizarre guesses at the number of trees in the park. So the equation was 7n equals 147. I substituted both 11 and 31 in for n, and it turns out that neither of her bizarre guesses are correct. So keep trying, Alyssa. All right. By the way, what would be the right answer? And how could we figure that out? We've got 147 miles, right? Or 147 trees, excuse me. And dividing that by 7. So really, the park has 21 times as many trees. Though really, who cares? Yet another child who needs a new hobby. Okay, now, number 26. She's got $26. She's already spent $18.62. So C has to be the silk flowers for $7.38. The way to solve it, in this case, is to substitute all those values in and see which one works. Okay. Now, finally, our last page for the day, I think. Yep. Page 183. Let's take a look. Solve and discuss it. Start with the equation 4 plus 8 equals 12 and complete each computation listed below. Do each computation individually. Which of the computations keeps the equation true? Explain. All right, so we've got this one, which is 4 plus 8 equals 12. Add 5 to both sides of the equation. Add 5 to both sides. Well, this is 12, so plus 5 would be 17. And if I'm adding 5 over there, it's 17 also. So now I'm going to get 17 equals 17. Do the rest of those now. Pause the video and start it again when you're ready to go over the answers. Okay, let's take a look. Add 3 to the left side of the equation and add 5 to the right side of the equation. Well, these two are not equal. So you get 15 does not equal 17. Divide the left side of the equation by 2 and multiply the right side of the equation by 2. And you've got 6, which does not equal 24. Subtract 4 from both sides of the equation, and you get 8 equals 8. Just driving home that point again, that when you do the same thing to both sides of an equation, they remain equal. If you do different things to different sides of the equation, they're not going to be equal anymore. Okay, and reasoning, how can you determine whether an equation is true? It's just a matter of, do both sides of it equal each other? That is all that they're really asking about there. And then on the bottom there, it says complete the equation 7 plus blank equals 10 minus 1. Well, 10 minus 1, I think I just did these ones. So 7 plus 2 equals 9, right? 10 minus 1 also equals 9. But you could do different things here too, as long as they made them equal each other. Right? Like what if you said 7 plus 5? I know that equals 12. So since this is a subtraction problem over here, then I would have to make it a negative number minus a negative 2. Also still equal. Okay? So in this case, the values on either side of the equal sign were not equal to begin with. So to make them equal, we had to do different things. But if like 10 was on both sides of the equal sign or 7 was on both sides, then if we wanted them to remain equal, we would have to do the same things on both sides. Okay, we are getting there, folks. We're almost to the point where we're going to really start solving those algebraic equations. And no, you are not always going to have to solve them by trying out 4 different things from a list. There's a better way to do it. But I really like the way they have you practicing that, because it really gets your mind focused on what makes an equation true and equal. All right. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.